Hey Broom Count fans, today on the channel I'm going to tell you the story of how I bought a used fork, thought I got a really good deal, and then reality sets in. Okay, to set a little bit of context, I have a Rocky Mountain Instinct and it comes with a 150 millimeter travel Marzocchi Z2. Z2 is a 34 millimeter stanchion fork meant for general trail and all mountain use. So then what I wanted to do was, I was like looking through my manual for my bike and it says, oh, the frame will take a 160 millimeter fork. Bingo. So I started looking around and I saw, all the different options. And as you know, recently from some videos on the channel, I really thought red fork lowers would be pretty cool on this bike. I'm calling it the Pepsi bike because it's got that blue, like the Pepsi blue, and it's got other red things already that I've been adding to it. So that logically meant that I have two options. One of the RockShox with red lowers, and I was looking at Marzocchi, the Z1.
So, luck would have it, I found this on eBay. $250 or best offer. He's got brand new 2024 Marzocchi Z1. It was a takeoff of like a GT Force. So it came from a GT Force. He wanted to use his own fork. He took this off. Beautiful. So I offered $225 and it was accepted.
So did I get a fork for $225? A Marzocchi Z1 no less? A fork that normally sells for about $650, $700? No. No. So first, there was $35 shipping. So add that to $225, you got $260. And then there's about $24 of sales tax. So right out of the gate, it's creeping up towards $300, but it doesn't stop there. So the big gotcha, right? I knew that this wasn't the best price on a used fork for me. And the reason was, this was a 170 millimeter fork. To change the travel to 160, which is what I need to do, if I want to respect the frame manufacturer's guideline, is I need to buy a new 160 millimeter air shaft assembly, take out the 170 and put the 160 in. So that right there means I need two extra things that I don't have. First, a chamferless top cap socket from Fox, because the Z1 is not the same top cap size as the Z2. Remember, Z2 has 34 millimeter stanchions, a Z1 has 36. And so I needed a 32 millimeter top cap socket for that air side so that I could take that air side apart of the fork once I get it and drop the lowers and pull out the existing air shaft assembly and put in the new one. That also means I need some slick oleum to, keep it lubed up. I already luckily have the Fox 20 weight gold that needs to go in there. So let's just get back to total cost. So it was a $225 base cost, then $35 shipping, $26.91 of sales tax, a reimbursement from my credit card on that 4% offer of $11.50. Then I had to go buy an air shaft assembly. That ended up being $63.96. I got it for like $60 maybe, plus sales tax or something like that. Anyway, and then a top cap socket. That was $27.59. And oh, don't forget the slick oleum. It was $11.05. And so total, that came to $378.03. But then I found some other issues. So what did I mean this has a couple issues? Well, unfortunately, if you look here, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but the star nut has already been driven way down. And I think he was, who knows why? Why would you do that? He started to drive the star nut out. So the star nut's in there, all crooked and lopsided, kind of banged up. Yes, it's not going to show up on video, but I got to get a new star nut. I already knew, but I thought again. I got to get a new crown race. Now, yes, I don't need a new crown race. I could take the one off my existing fork. I'm not going to do that though, for a reason I'll mention here in a bit. And so it turns out, you know, there's a couple things that I am going to need to add in order to actually install this thing. So let's look at those costs. So, okay, it's really not so bad, right? Star nut, that's cheap. Crown race, that's cheap. Found the star nut for like $5. Crown race was like $7. I did unfortunately need to buy a star nut setter. I don't have one. I have set star nuts in the past using, you know, DIY methods you can find on YouTube. But I decided, geez, since this is the third or something time that I'm doing it, I'm going to buy a star nut setter. So that was another $28 to get one of those. And then we had sales tax on all that. So my total cost went all the way up to $421.90. And then I found something even more.
And so there was something else wrong, something that would be costly. Do you notice what it is? Look towards the bottom of the fork here. What's missing? That's right, the axle. The axle was never included with the fork. It wasn't in the pictures that were on the eBay listing. It wasn't provided in the description. And so when the fork came, even after I had looked at all this other stuff, there was still never any axle, and I had just not noticed that. I should have been looking out for that and thought about the fact I would have to buy an axle. And turns out that's $50.
Grand total comes to $488.12. But hey, who am I to complain? I thought I was getting a $225 fork and being so smart used. Today I went and I saw that they're blowing out 2025 Marzocchi Z1s from the Lost Co. for a little north of $500. So $488.12. It's still a savings. It is, though, a used fork, and I do have to do a couple of hours of work. But let's look at the bright side. Now we're going to have content for the channel because we're going to tear apart a Marzocchi Z1 and show you how to reduce the travel in your fork. See you guys next time on Berm Count.